Hello and welcome to Atlas Shrugged 383. Today's topic is going to be the legendary engraving or roll stamping found on Colt's legendary cap and ball series of revolvers. Anyone who has experience with these revolvers knows that on the cylinders are often engraved a theme or a battle sequence of sorts. So let's talk about those and what you would find on specific pistols and what they represent. Engraving on Colt revolvers can be found all the way back on Colt's first mass-produced revolver, which was the Colt Patterson back in 1836. The Colt Patterson was Colt's first commercially produced revolver. It was sort of infamous in that it wasn't a huge commercial success. However, it was adopted by the Texas Rangers, and the legacy really began with the Texas Rangers. The early Colt Pattersons were roll engraved with a scene of a Centaur fighting two bandits with revolvers. After those early production Pattersons were produced, the number 5 Patterson was produced with a roll stamp of a Stagecoach Robbery Scene. And that Stagecoach Robbery Scene would be retained on later Colt Pocket model pistols, which began around 1849. The first Colt Pocket models were produced all the way up until the 1862 Colt Pocket series. Different scenes, you'll notice in the image here, different scenes have different lengths to wrap around the different size cylinders for each caliber. And on the smallest of these models, which include the Baby Dragoon, you begin to see this scene, which is the Stagecoach Robbery Scene. After the Colt Patterson was produced and saw success with Texas Rangers, Colt fell into financial hardships. They were basically on the verge of bankruptcy. However, a man named Samuel Walker, who had experience using Colt's repeating pistols against Native Americans in some of the wars around Texas, came to Colt and said, basically, make the pistol that I want, and we will procure use of these for U.S. forces. The specifications were a heavy-duty pistol, much larger than the Patterson revolver, much more powerful. Sam Walker's requirement was that the pistol could knock a horse down or the rider at 50 yards or more. So that was the genesis of the Colt Walker, which was the first Dragoon pistol that Colt manufactured. Much larger than the Patterson, the Walker was the most powerful pistol that Colt manufactured until the advent of the .357 Magnum round in the 20th century. With the Walker and the Dragoon series came a new scene for the cylinders, which, as previously mentioned, were roll stamped with either the early models, a Centaur fighting two bandits, or a Stagecoach Robbery Scene. Colt created a new scene to honor the Texas Rangers on the Walker series that show mounted U.S. forces fighting against Native Americans. These are you see the U.S. soldiers are on the left, the Native Americans are on the right. And again, the purpose for these engravings was a marketing ploy by Colt, of course, to market these pistols, but also somewhat of a patent holder, because without the original tooling, these roll stamps couldn't be reproduced, at least not accurately or perfectly. So they were both a method of marketing and a method of proofing the Colt pistols to ensure that the buyer was receiving a genuine Colt and not a copy. This roll stamp scene of the Native Americans fighting Texas Rangers would be on all of the Dragoon series, from the Walker to the first, second, and third model Dragoon pistols. All of the mainstream Dragoon pistols were in .44 caliber. And here is a flat scene of the Rangers fighting the Native Americans that found its way roll stamped onto the Colt Walker and the Dragoon series. It is said that this image is a tribute to an actual battle that took place, a battle called Enchanted Rock in 1841. The Ranger involved was named Jack Hayes, and the battle was between the Texas Rangers and the Comanche Indians. And that leads us to the most well-known engraving of all to appear on Colt's cylinders, and that is the roll stamping of the naval fighting scene. The naval fighting scene roll stamp appeared on the 1851 Colt Navy in .36 caliber. The sailing ships that are fighting it out is a tribute to the Battle of Campeche in the U.S. and Mexican War. It depicts the two navies clashing on May the 16th, 1843. This pistol is an 1861 Colt Navy. I don't have an 1851 in my collection. But here you will see the fighting ship scene, and also Colt's proofing and patent on the cylinder. I'm going to scroll around. Here is the patent, and then the naval scene begins directly afterwards. Now, this engraving is not what makes a Colt Navy a Colt Navy. There is a little bit of misunderstanding about that. The Colt Navy appeared in 1851 as a .36 caliber. The .36 caliber is what makes a Colt Navy because that is the caliber of choice. A .44 caliber is considered a full caliber or Army caliber. And this is a primary example of why that is. This is Colt's 1860 Army. This was a .44 caliber. It was Colt's first full-size caliber outside of the Dragoon series that we previously talked about. This is a .44, but it has the naval fighting scene on the cylinder. You'll see this cylinder is stepped up a bit to accommodate the larger round. That's the Colt 1860 Army, which also includes the fighting ships representing the Battle of Campeche. And this is a fantasy pistol, basically. This is a Colt Avenging Angel, which represents a belly gun or a card table gun of the period. This is also a .44 caliber. But it also has the naval ship scene represented on it. And here is a flat image of the Navy ships fighting scene found on the Colt Navy series. This was exclusive to the Colt Navy series in .36 caliber, as well as the 1860 Army. Of particular note, there never was a Colt Navy produced in .44 caliber. Only the 1860 Army and the pistols that came before, the Dragoon series. So that wraps up our review of the different types of roll stamping found on Colts. I hope you enjoyed this discussion of the different types of roll stamping that Colt manufactured on its pistols. I find it very interesting. I find it to be a little snapshot of the time of early marketing ploys, as well as tributes to some battles, some famous instances in our history. If you like this video, check out my other content on Atlas Shrugged 383. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep content coming out. My Cap and Ball series and Black Powder series seems to do pretty well. I get a lot of positive feedback from it. I'll try to do some shooting videos in the near future. Stay safe. Have a great day.